Hey guys, I wanted to just make a video about the new Peaks of Prestige Woo card game mode. I know I'm a couple weeks late at this point, but I wanted to kind of just throw my hat in the ring and show off a deck that I found to be super consistent, very easily gets turn 2, maybe turn 3 kills. And yeah, I think it's just really consistent, and for the most part, it seems to work really well. So I just want to go over it, and I'm so confident in its consistency that I'm going to do this all in one take, no cuts, recording it right off the rip. We're going to do a deck breakdown, and then we're going to have an example duel to show you guys how it kind of works. So, this deck is based on modulation. So the main star of the show is over here, the Havoc Warrior. So this is a Havoc and Electro deck. This is the start of the show. This ability, Versatility, is probably one of the most broken abilities in the game. So this allows you to infinitely modulate on top of this guy over and over and over again. So what you're going to do is you're going to use this as a base, and then you're going to use draw cards, generic draw cards that are, is it Fission Junk Rock? Not this one. Vanguard Junk Rock, which is when you modulate, you draw two, Pot of Greed, and Diamond Claw, which is also when you modulate this echo, draw two. You use that to kind of continuously stack echoes onto your Havoc Warrior to increase its, what is it called? The damage value over and over and over again. And then you also throw one or two Whiff Waffs in here. So what Whiff Waffs do is superpower. For each special skill this echo has, deals 20% more damage to enemy echoes during the battle stage, stacking up to 99 times. I believe you can stack superpower as well. So like if you have 5 abilities on here and you have one superpower in there, your echo is going to be doing twice as much damage. If you have like 10 abilities and 2 of them are superpower, well, one superpower gives you 10 times 20%, so that's 200%, and the second superpower also gives you 10 times 20%. So in total, you're going to be doing 100% of your damage as base, plus 200% from one superpower, plus 200% from superpower number 2. So you're doing 5 times as much damage as you're supposed to do if you have a Whiff Waff. So basically, you just have a Havoc Warrior, you constantly stack onto it over and over with draw 2 cards, and you have throw a few Whiff Waffs in there to make them really, really strong, and then you just kind of like sweep through and you kill them in like 1 or 2 turns. So I guess we can go over the boss monster. So since we're doing a whole lot of modulation, our boss monster is going to be Memphis, Tennessee, because you can easily turbo out your boss monster within like turn 1, which guarantees you winning turn 1, or turn 2, which is also really, really helpful. Yeah. Another thing is because the modulation increases the damage so much, it's really easy to get really a lot of damage to the enemy duelist. Other cards. Let's look at our 3 costs. We're running Vitrium Dancer. When you modulate this echo, draw 3 cards. So this can help you unbrick your hand if needed, and it's also a decent enough 3 cost monster to use. Then also we have Questless Knight, which is the 3 costs that you want to use for damage. So if you slap Questless Knight on an echo that's already been stacked a bunch of times, like this thing just murders everything. Yeah, so that's the 4 kind of special ones. And then aside from that, let's talk about our staples. So we have Diggy Duggy, which is arguably one of the best cards in the game. As you know how the saying goes, I transform Diggy Duggy to draw 3 additional cards from my deck. So, broken card, you need 2 of these. Saber Boar, also similar to Diggy Duggy, basically just as broken. I transform Saber Boar to add 3 energy points of energy to my deck, or whatever, right? So, 2 super strong cards that really help give you gas and get your engine going. Otherwise, like I said, Vanguard Junk Rock and Diamond Claw are your draw power. So when you have Havoc Warrior, playing one of these cards actually becomes cost neutral because you spend 1 energy to play the card, you draw 2 cards, and you can convert one of the cards that you drew into energy back, and so you're energy neutral, right? It costs you 0 energy essentially. So those 2 are really important. Aside from that, Fission Junk Rock, transform and display up to 3 1-cost echoes from your deck. This basically helps you search for Havoc Warrior or a draw 2 or whatever you might be missing. And then finally, Dwarf Cassowary is just there to pad out the deck to make sure that we hit 20. And that's about it, right? So, yep, find Havoc Warrior, stack a bunch of draw 2s onto it, turbo out Thundering Mephis, add some Whiff Waffs, and then you should be really strong. You can just kill them in 2 turns. So for the duelist that you're using, we're using Shangli Yao, purely just to draw an additional card during the first turn. Yeah, you can run Arrow Rover if you want for extra strength, but I think like the strategy has enough power on its own that the draw 1 gives you a little bit more consistency. So let's go ahead and 5 minutes for the deck breakdown, and so we're just gonna go straight into a duel. My game doesn't crash, and see how it goes. Okay, so Saber Boar, very powerful. Diggy Duggy, very good. So I'm going to re-roll, since I really want to find Havoc Rover, even though Saber Boar is crazy, I'm just gonna re-roll that and see if we find it. And we did not, but we did get Diggy Duggy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and transform Diggy Duggy to draw 3 additional cards from my deck. And there is not a guy, so we're just gonna go Saber Boar for a little bit of extra thing. Oh wait, these are the two transform ones, so hopefully we can find Havoc Warrior here. No, so we're gonna go for Diggy Duggy, and this is probably a good example of how you can be kind of unlucky, but you can usually dig for Havoc Warrior, right? So now Havoc Warrior is here. We just want to continuously stack these draw 2 cards onto it over and over again. I can go ahead tune one of these. We're going to do that. We're going to draw 2. Cassowary, again, I just usually just transform that because he's just there to pad out the deck. And then let's go ahead and tune you. And we can go ahead and keep on searching. So we get that. We play it. We draw 2 additional cards from our deck. We can go ahead and do something like that. And at this point, right, keep in mind that the Vitrium Dancer are still draw cards. So we can go ahead and do all that, throw Vitrium Dancer on that, and then we can get more cards like this. Now, one thing to note is that don't be afraid to down tune your guy if that means that you draw more cards. So we're just going to do that real quick. I don't need this. We're going to draw some more. Let's go ahead and do that. Draw that. So how many times have we modulated? I don't know. A lot. We've modulated a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to just do that. I'm going to draw one more. And there we go. Right? Turn 1, we've turboed out Thundering Mephis. Memphis Tempest C. So we're basically guaranteed to win this round. And at this point, we can go ahead and let's do this. Let's do that. Right, so now we have superpower stacked onto it, and we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 stacks of things. So let's go ahead and run it, and you can see that because we have Thundering Memphis, Tennessee, right? I think it's just gonna slaughter everything, and then we're gonna smack the other guy in the face for like 20-some damage, which sets us up really easily to kill them on the second turn. And also, if you look at the damage that our Whiff Waff did, he did like 14k on a random hit, right? And the superpower at work. They're doing a bunch of damage. Okay. Here we go. Boom. Hit him for 21, so we just have to hit for 24 on the next turn. And then we're good. Right, so we have Saber Boar, we have another draw card, and we have... I hope you didn't hear this. I hope you didn't hear that. Okay, let's go ahead and transform Saber Boar. Easy peasy. We're going to go ahead and draw 2. Draw 3 additional cards from my deck. Draw 3 additional cards from my deck. Draw 3 additional cards from my deck. And at this point, right, if I win... Why does he only have 20 HP? Whatever. But if I win, which I obviously am, bro is dead, right? So we don't have to worry about that. So let's go ahead and throw that away. Throw that away. We can add some more Whiff Waffs, just cause. And then at this point, let's go ahead and chuck everything here, and then here. And then, right, we have 23 on this guy, 8 on this guy, like, he's just dead. Right? So go ahead and look at how much damage this this guy does. We have, like, I don't know how many superpowers stacked on, but it's a lot. Okay, did he hit? Where is he? Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Memphis Tempest is just a murdering. I see like a 15k hit. I think that was the Dire Snipe. But there you go, right? Easy 2-turn kill. We could have kept on going, but, you know, I'm trying to do things reasonably quickly. So, yeah, 5 minutes for the deck breakdown, 5 minutes for an example duel. Hopefully it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to pilot, and in my opinion, very consistent. If you get super unlucky and you don't find any Havoc Warriors on turn 1, you're bound to find them on turn 2, and then that's your kill on turn 3. But like 80-90% of the time, I find that this deck kills on turn 2. Anyways, yeah, there you go. We just broke 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and upload this video, and hopefully you guys will have fun. All right, see you.